a general rule, again, these are just general rules and guidelines we're following, of inside position. There are great inside position and outside position plays, okay, just like on the floor. You have great inside position plays with things like butterfly guard, and you have great outside position plays with things like closed guard. Okay, there's great inside and outside plays. But in general, inside position is going to be what we favor. Because of the fact that anytime you have inside position, you can really start to fatigue your partner by pulling on your partner's head. So anytime, if she goes to reach for me, my hand, my elbow, my shoulder come inside my partner's, we're going to have the inside position. So this makes it important, these very subtle movements, when we go to tie up with our partner. If we go to start reaching and my shoulder starts outside my partner's shoulder, I lose from here. So if we're in a position, we're in a position here, and I'm slightly off to this side. If I go to reach for my partner with the lead hand, now, because my shoulder's outside hers, when we both go to tie up, it's much easier for her to win here. Now I can, move my shoulder, so as we both go to reach, I get inside, but because I'm starting in a position where her shoulder's on the inside, if we draw a line that goes straight from her shoulder out in this direction, her shoulder's inside mine. So when we both go to reach, she beats me from here. Whereas from here, if my lead foot is aligned with her rear foot, she beats me. The second I start moving, so that from here, my lead foot splits her legs, or I'm toe-to-toe with my lead foot versus her lead foot. Now, when she goes to reach for me, I can always go in and I can get the inside position. All right? Now, this comes at a price, because now, if she goes to reach with the rear hand and I go to reach with the lead hand, I win. But the further I get into a situation where I can beat lead hand versus rear hand, the easier it is for her now to reach me with her lead hand. Because the further I move in this direction, the further her right shoulder now comes inside my left shoulder. So now when we go to tie up, now we can both have collar ties. So from here, we have to be ready as we both go to tie up to take my left shoulder to the inside. And now we have an inside bicep tie and collar tie. Okay? So we play this general idea that we're looking to get inside position here. Right? Now, how we get inside position is going to be through where I'm placed and where my shoulders and hips move. But in general, I want to have the inside position, because once I have the inside position, I can really start fatiguing my partner and pulling on my partner's head. Right? There's great things that we can do from outside position, for example, like an over tie. But from here, it's much harder for me to pull my partner's head. I'm always looking to strip these grips. Now she goes to pull the hand back. Now we have inside position once again. Right? So always looking to move to the inside position. And this will vary if she switches her stance, for example. Now from here, when she goes to reach for me, she has the inside position, which is why it's more than likely from here that she's going to take a collar tie on me, and I'll have to work with an over tie. In order for me to get the inside position, I have to circle here. So now her center line's exposed. She has to step back with that right leg. As she steps back with the right leg, now we can go in, so we can take her collar tie. There's a lot of movement here, and there's a lot of manipulation of where my shoulders and elbows will be to get inside. Someone's ringing the doorbell because food's here. So we got our food. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What do we get?
Rice and chicken and peppers. And
okay, that's what they. Well, so we're just going to leave this over here. And if you guys think I'm redoing that whole clip, you're out of your mind. So we're just going to continue right on from there. We got a lot of work to do that. So my whole thing is to get my shoulders to the inside position. And in general, I'm looking to work from the inside position. Okay. And, relative to, based on my partner's stance relative to my stance, if we're right versus right or we're left versus right, and where I am contingent on my partner's body position and my body position, it's going to be easier to get inside position for one of us, right? So for example, the further I circle towards my partner's far shoulder, the easier it is for her rear hand to beat my lead hand. But the easier it is for my rear hand to beat her lead hand here. So from here, if I go to reach rear and she goes to reach straight, I win. If she goes to reach rear and I go to reach straight, she wins. But if we change the angle and I'm here, now if she goes to reach lead hand and I go to reach rear, she can beat me. But if she goes to reach rear and I go to reach straight, she can beat me. But most of the time, if we just reach straight to the head, I win. All right. And this can obviously be manipulated like you just saw. If I go to reach and she takes the shoulder inside and she rolls the shoulder, she beats me. That's why you'll see me and Nicholas will walk like this towards our partner. So we have a down block hand. So we go to make contact, and she goes to make a collar tie on me, my head, regardless of where my foot placement is, even if I'm out here and her shoulder's inside mine, switch. If her shoulder's inside mine and we're here, as she goes to reach, we take the shoulder inside. So now when she goes to get a hold of me, we get the hand inside regardless of where our foot placement is relative to our partners, and we have the inside position. So there's general rules where your feet are and where your shoulders are, but you can manipulate this and you can break the rules by shoulder rolling and getting your shoulder to the inside position and going in and getting underhooks. Going in, getting collar ties from here. And then keeping the inside position so I can start pulling on my partner's head and harassing my partner's feet and playing a game from the inside position. All right, so now let's talk about, we spoke about this a little bit in the previous instructional with scrimmaging, I'm pretty sure, but asymmetrical hand positions. So essentially what I mean by this is what I want is I want to have the ability to fatigue my partner by pulling on the head without my partner having the ability to pull on my head. All right. What I don't want is a situation where we both have one another's heads and the work rate is relatively equal from here. You see this in Jiu-Jitsu all the time where either people go hand to hand and head to head here, and then no one's doing any work. Like you just see this and people just sit here forever. She's not getting more tired. I'm not getting more tired. And this is just useless to stand here for 90% of the match. Okay. It's equally as bad for me to have a collar tie and for her to have a collar tie, because now she can pull on my head just as much as I can pull on her head. And now we both get tired just as fast. So what I want is a situation where I have her head and she doesn't have a grip of mine. So now when she goes to move me around, because I have the inside position because I'm on her head, now I can start pulling on her head and I can start moving her around much easier from here. All right. There's plenty of ways to do this, whether it be working here, whether it be working here, whether it be working here and switching back and forth, anything that we can do to get to our partner's head where she has a grip, where I have a grip on her head and she doesn't have a grip on my head. And then right from here, we can go in and start switching to our attacks. So we always want asymmetrical hand positions so we can create a scenario where her work rate is much higher than mine because of the fact that I'm pulling on that long lever at the end of the spine here. And anytime that I'm on her head, that's great for me. But anytime she's on my head, especially if she has my head and I don't have her head, this should be warning signs going off in your head from here like, oh man, I gotta do something from here. This is like the worst case scenario, okay? This is bad enough where we both have collar ties. This is like, okay, this still should be red flags of sirens going off in your head. Like, I gotta clear this collar tie here. And then this is where we wanna be. So now when she goes to move me around, it's gonna be hard. And now I can go into all of my attacks right from there. All right, so now let's look at an overview of the entire instructional, how we're going to format it like we always do. So the first thing we're going to look at is just basic hand fighting setups and how we can stop our partner from getting to our head, how we can get to our partner's head, and then all different kinds of attacks from collar ties. And then just using the collar tie itself as an attack so I can fatigue my partner over time. So getting to the head, using collar ties, learning how to stay on the head with collar ties, where if she goes to get control of my head and she goes to pommel her hands, how we can go in and we can keep collar ties in the partner and then go into attacks from there. All right. The first thing is going to be getting to collar ties, hand fighting, attacks from collar ties. All right. After that, we're going to be looking at over ties. So my partner takes a collar tie on me from here, and now we can go in and we can look to use over ties to start going in and going into all of our attacks from there. Then we're going to look at and we'll have setups, of course, into these positions from underhooks. So I can go in, start attacking my partner from these underhook situations where we can go in and start playing all of our attacks from here. Then we'll look at overhooks. If she has an underhook from here, now we have to go in and play our game where we start to go in and attack our partner from overhooks. Then, once we finish overhooks, then we're going to go into under-over scenarios where we both have underhooks, we both have overhooks, we play from these positions here. Then we're going to look at double underhooks. We have double underhooks from here. Now we can go and start to play all of our games attacking from there. We're going to look at double overhooks. For now, she has two underhooks, and now it's my job to start going in and playing a game where I can sit my partner down. So under, over, double under, then double over. After that, we'll go to 2-on-1s, whether it be 2-on-1 wrist grips, whether it be wrist and elbow, whether it be 2-on-1 Russian, and look to go into attacks from 2-on-1s. After 2-on-1, we'll go into arm drags. We look to go in from here, and we chain arm drags in, however it may be. We start playing, and we use drags to start going in, and getting to our partner's back, getting behind our partner. And then once we use those drags to get behind our partner from here, now we're in rear body lock territory, or now from here, we're going to look to go in and start putting our partner down towards the floor. So this is the general format here. Now, I haven't taught scrimmage wrestling hardly ever, just in class here. But I never taught seminars or series on scrimmage wrestling because whenever I go teach a seminar, everyone's always asking for leg locks or guard passing or back attacks, whatever the case is. So this is my first time teaching this. So I think that the way that I have it laid out will make the most sense, but I'm not 100% sure. So we're going to bounce around a little bit. So when we go to arm drags, we're going to look at setting up arm drags from these different positions, for example. So we'll have attacks from collar ties in the beginning. We're not going to attack arm drags from the collar tie until we get to the arm drag arm drag section. So when we get to these different sections, different arm drag sections, we'll start off with collar ties like we did before. But instead of just going for attacks from these collar ties, we'll use the collar ties in these various other positions to start setting up our attacks into arm drags, for example. Okay, or we'll use an initial collar tie here to start moving my partner around and pulling, and then using that to set up an under. Now we can play from here. So we're kind of going to bounce back and forth between these positions. But I think the way that I have it structured is the easiest way to understand this and the best way to structure it.